Trump?
Mostly his immigration policy. But yesterday I came up here. We were talking about like some. I'm not gonna like get into specifics because I don't want to get a flag. But I got
Oh,
kicked.
was it about the election?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you said, "Oh, I don't want to get a flag, so I don't want to talk about this." And I was like, "I'll just say it." I was like, "I'll just do it. You got a flag." Okay, go ahead. You can continue.
No, but I think that I support him because mostly his immigration policy and the fact that illegal immigration has gone down so much.
Okay. Can you name one thing Trump's done to reduce undocumented immigration?
Probably just increase like ICE action, I guess.
Okay.
Or at
And
least
ICE
make it more
action's doing
public.
what?
Deporting illegals. What do you mean?
Okay.
What's ICE doing?
But I would say that they're undermining due process rights. They're racially profiling people. They're sending people to a concentration camp in El Salvador, where they're being brutalized, tortured, and starved. We can give countless examples of how people are mistreated under the current system right now, which is leading less people to come to our country because they don't want to be mistreated and abused. But that doesn't mean that we've created a better system overall, right?
I mean, sometimes the way that like he does it isn't great, but like still overall, he's getting the job done. You know, Obama also had a bunch of like bad things with his deportation stuff.
Listen, man, listen. I think that I hear this argument a lot from MAGA, and I'm not a fan of it at all. You say, well, I don't really care that Donald Trump is infringing on the Constitution, violating human, natural, and constitutional rights of undocumented immigrants. As long as it gets the job done, you will support it. That's what we call blind loyalty. That places Trump above all else, including common decency, common sense, the Constitution, and morality. It's the positioning of Trump as a all-knowing, all-good dictator, where you're willing
I
to
didn't
accept
say all
whatever he
that.
does when he does it. Well, you did. You did when you say, well, at least he's getting the job done, right? You know, like, well, you don't care that he infringed on the 14th Amendment of our Constitution to take citizenship away from citizens, to reclassify them as undocumented migrants to be deported and tortured and CCOT. Because it's getting the job done, you will support it nonetheless. That's very immoral.
Okay, but is illegal immigration not a problem that has to be addressed? That isn't being addressed nearly to the same extent by the Democrats.
I think it's being addressed better by the Dems. And the reason why I say that is because the Democrats have at least tried to influence bipartisan legislation to reduce undocumented entry by expediting the legal means of entry. The Democrats tried to introduce some legislation surrounding the groundwork for mass amnesty. The Democrats tried to do these things, okay, right? And I would say the reason why the Dems are doing better than Trump is because Trump hasn't even ever tried to implement good long-term proactive policy to reduce undocumented entry into this country. Not once has he stood in front of a mic and suggested that maybe we need to make legal entry easier. No, he's just been lashing out and using mass deportation as a weapon to get more support amongst prejudiced white Americans by, once again, playing fascist and infringing on the human, constitutional, natural rights of the undocumented immigrants here.
Why should we try to increase the amount of immigration, period, though? Because they're taking American jobs.
No, they create American jobs. Created a $14.3 trillion economic surplus over the last 30 years. They increase real median wages. They make more on average, and they take less from the government on average. That creates American jobs by increasing productivity in the labor force. If it wasn't for immigrants, our GDP would be significantly smaller, our companies would be less productive, and there would be significantly less jobs. Not to mention, well, let's look at the jobs report since Trump has started his mass deportation. In 2024 under Biden, do you know how many jobs we created?
No, I don't.
2.2 million. Now take a guess how many Trump created in 2025.
I'm gonna assume it's less.
170,000. Okay, that's less than the rolling monthly average under Biden. So if mass deportation was so good for the American prosperity of the economy and jobs, well then why have we seen the worst jobs report since 2003 ignoring recessions under Trump after he started his mass deportation?
Well, you can't just say Biden had more job openings because that was during COVID, and a lot of people got laid off during COVID.
2024 was during COVID? I think that you misspoke there, because that's clearly false.
You said during Biden's presidency, or
I said specifically in 2024.
okay, but still, like that was like pretty soon, like after COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs.
So we got all of our bounce back jobs in 2021 to Q1 of 2022. All the jobs had bounced back by then. 2024 was accelerated economic growth after we'd rebounded from the pandemic. And you can't just like arbitrarily draw this line and say that, well, 2024 was a bounce back from the pandemic, then 2025 wasn't. Like that also doesn't really make any sense. You're just arbitrarily drawing a line to make an excuse for why the jobs reports have been worse under Trump. That evidently isn't based on real data, right? Because if you look at the real data, if you just go to the unemployment rate, for instance, on BLS's website, month by month or quarter by quarter, you'll see that we had a massive, massive dip at the end of the Trump administration and beginning of the Biden-Harris administration, but then we're bounced back by Q1 of 2022. This is also resembled within real GDP growth data. 2024 was untouched by the pandemic. There was no bounce back for any macroeconomic indicator that took place in 2024.
Okay, I'll concede that. I'll concede Biden was better for jobs, but I still think Trump is a better president than Kamala.
Okay. Well, I mean, you just got done saying that, well, we need less immigration because they take their jobs, our jobs. Do you concede that too? Because isn't your whole thing Biden was terrible for immigration? He let so many immigrants in, but now you're simultaneously saying that he's also better for jobs? So more immigration equals more jobs?
I still think that Trump was better for immigration, though. I mean, better for like preventing immigration.
Yeah. So you're saying that Biden allows more immigration, but is also better for jobs, right?
Why is there a correlation?
Well, because less than 5 minutes ago, you told us that more immigration equals worse for jobs. But now if you're telling me that we can have more immigration and better jobs, like clearly that sentiment would be false.
And you just
would expect under your hypothesis that if Biden allowed more immigration, that he would have been therefore worse for jobs under your view. But no, that principle's been rejected by yourself enough.
Well, I think part of your explanation also kind of makes me think that there isn't really a correlation between immigration and job like opportunities for Americans.
Okay, well, the Cato Institute has demonstrated a study that would disagree. I've already given you data from that study, such as the $14.3 trillion surplus generated by immigration and the economy over the last 30 years. You don't think that there's a correlation between immigration and jobs? Then you're just simply uninformed on American economics.
Okay, so you want me to concede that
Immigration's beneficial to our economy, our society, our culture, etc., and you have no argument against it. Really, the process is about how do we facilitate immigration through the legal pathway rather than through being undocumented, right? The way to do that is by making the legal process go quicker and by providing a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who haven't committed a violent or serious offense. Now, Democrats don't even specifically have that perspective yet. They just want to criminalize undocumented entry. They just want to make the legal process go quicker, and they want to prioritize going after those that have committed violent and serious offenses. But I think that the process of mass amnesty would be a lot better at being able to address all of those conditions. But this is preferable than what Trump's advocating for, where they are prioritizing going after everyone regardless of whether or not they've committed a violent or serious offense, which means if we're putting more of our time into those that aren't a threat to the safety and security of our population, that I would say we're actively putting ourselves at a greater risk.
So you're saying that Biden was better for immigration, more immigration helps the economy and creates more jobs.
And I would say that Biden or Trump actually exacerbated what he considers a border crisis because he undermined a bipartisan border bill when he said that the border crisis was very bad in 2023. There's entire campaign, 2023, 2024, and everything, he was running on the border crisis being an issue. But during that time, it was the time where he literally, after he undermined a bipartisan border bill that would have addressed those very conditions. So if we're talking about there being a crisis and you can get a bill done during the crisis to be able to address this, wouldn't you want to do that if you care about it? If you care about addressing that crisis?
Okay, I'll concede on immigration, but I think also Trump is better for the war in Iran.
Okay, how so? I would say that we're in an objectively worse position right now than we were a decade ago under the JCPOA, and right now still we'd be under that cap of enrichment of uranium right now for Iran at 3.67% until 2030, where we could renegotiate.
There's no way you think Iran was genuinely going to listen to that agreement with Obama.
Well, we had no reason to believe that they had violated.
They fund. There's no way they're going to be honest with an agreement with like an actual government.
Okay, then why does Trump think that they're going to be honest in this 15-point agreement and their negotiations right now? He says right now that he was about to do a huge attack, but he thinks that they're having good conversations and that it could possibly lead to a negotiation.
Because they're also facing like the threat of like war, and we're beating them in the war, so they have to listen to us because we're beating.
Okay, well, you understand that's what it was under the JCPOA. Like we put on economic sanctions and then removed them in order to be able to get this agreement.
So
Yeah,
we're at war with Iran.
listen, the reason why Iran funds is because they think that helps them. Wow, shocker. They're willing to do things that they think will help them. They also thought that economic relief would help them. In fact, they thought it would help them more than continuing to enrich uranium in an attempt to build nukes. So they honored the JCPOA not because they're kind Samaritans who just wanted to listen to what Obama had to say, but rather because it directly benefited their material conditions by making their economy perform better. And we know that they honored the agreement not just because of this incentive structure, but also because the IAEA, an international nuclear watchdog, ensured it. They had 24/7 access to tamper-proof surveillance cameras in all of their enrichment sites. They had access to satellite data and imagery of the entirety of the country to track their enrichment sites, as well as 300 in-person visits per year at each site. Under the JCPOA, they did not violate the nuclear enrichment cap once.
Does this all be found in the JCPOA?
This could all be found via the quarterly reports from the IAEA that were then formed by all parties in the JCPOA, including Trump before he pulled us out of in May of 2018.
How come I've never heard about this then?
Because you don't listen to reliable sources on the internet that tell you what's true of the world around you, and when it contradicts your political narrative about your support for Trump.
Dude, didn't they literally come into the Oval Office to have a meeting with Trump and say hey, we're building nukes, and they start threatening us?
No, they have actually not ever recognized that they were building nuclear weapons publicly.
Well, they said they're we're enriching uranium to this percent or whatever. This is how close we are to nuke.
I don't know what meeting you're talking about. Would you like to give me a source on the meeting you're talking about?
Yeah, give me a second.
Oh boy.
How were your debates yesterday, bro?
They were okay. I was feeling pretty energetic yesterday, so I just kind of ran through them all. It was pretty fun.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, they felt good.
I feel like I had pretty crazy people, but it wasn't too overly crazy comparative to other days. Today I've had some crazy people as well, but I think it was last week or so. I had a day of I just had the craziest people ever.
Yeah, I mean it's an ebb and a flow. Sometimes you get the crazy guests, other times you won't. It just really depends on the day, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what are your thoughts on Thomas Massie losing?
Well, I mean, I think it really proves to the world that if you're anti-war, then you're anti-Republican. I mean, this man has been holding on to his seat for 14 years, votes with him 92% of the time, towing the line behind some of the craziest alt-right conspiracies, like the J6 plot, like the Russia hoax, like the COVID hoax, so on and so forth. And stands with him against universal access healthcare, stands with him against democratic tax reform, stands with him against gun reform. But because this motherfucker co-signed himself to a piece of legislation to send to jail and does not agree with starting a war of choice in the Middle East that costs $1 billion a day in the lives of children, all of a sudden, according to Trump, he's the worst congressman in the history of the U.S. And according to AIPAC, they now need to put $8 million behind the pro-MAGA, pro-Israel candidate he's running against. The GOP's been compromised, man. It's completely been compromised, and I think that this is as clear as day to prove it. And I really hope that it opens up the eyes of any Republican that considers themselves to be a Massie supporter.
True.
I got the source.
Yeah. So what was the source? What's the title? You have to be in the app
Trump.
for us to be able to hear
It
you.
was an article from CBS titled Trump envoy Steve Witkoff says that Iran has enough enriched uranium to make 11 nukes.
Yeah, but that not enriched.
Wait, this is also from March of this year. So
It's from February.
The one from CBS is from March 3rd. So I tried to give you the source or the information about the JCPOA, and then your response was to talk about this source. So this is referencing their enriched uranium that they have after Donald Trump pulled us out of the JCPOA. So in other words, what you're telling us here is that apparently, according to Steve Witkoff, because of Trump, Iran has enough uranium to make 11 nukes. But also keep in mind what Parker said there is correct. That's not enriched uranium. It just is uranium.
Yeah, they have enough uranium to do this, not enrich to that degree. Now, their claim that they can enrich it to 90% within a week to 10 days is crazy, by the way. That's a nuts thing to say. Secondly, that would then just make an argument that Trump putting us in this position is even worse because he pulled us out of the JCPOA and got them closer to that, because they're only at 60% enrichment right now because of the fact that Donald Trump pulled out of the JCPOA. They would be at 3.67% right now if Donald Trump never did that.
Okay, but like, nobody's perfect. Where he made a mistake, he's fixing it now.
No, that's not like, listen, that's not a mistake. That's one of the worst geopolitical blunders in modern global history.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah,
Is
like,
that really
it's-
the card you played?
That's not nobody's perfect. That's this guy's an idiot that shouldn't be anywhere near, right, a governmental position. Right? Like, that's not what we say for our leaders, man. Like, sure, our leaders are capable of making mistakes, but when they make a mistake big enough to onset a war, okay, they probably shouldn't be in public office.
Okay, I got a question real quick. You guys keep saying that Trump ripped up the JCPOA. I can't imagine he actually like ripped up like physical documents. What do you mean by that? Like, did he like get a vote pass like annul it or something, or what's the deal?
No, he pulled the United States out of it because it had Obama's signature on it.
With like what, an
Like,
executive
yeah.
order?
Yeah.
Okay, but I still think that we'd be in a better situation than if we had Kamala as president,
Why?
Why? Yeah.
because she's never had any experience as president, and she wouldn't know how to handle a situation like this.
Never
Yeah,
had
wasn't that
experience
your
as
argument for-
president?
Isn't this your argument for why we should have voted for Trump in 2016? Wait, actually, check this out. In 2016, would you have voted for Trump, the guy with zero experience in politics, or Hillary Clinton, the woman with like 30 years of experience in politics?
Man, I was in third grade in 2016.
I know, but assuming that you were 18 in 2016, who'd you have voted for, Trump or Clinton?
I don't know enough about the 2016 election. I
Oh,
wouldn't be able
come
to tell
on.
you that.
You're telling me you would change your vote?
Okay, but following the logic of they've never been, neither candidates had been president before.
But
Hillary
Hillary
Clinton
Clinton had been working in politics for most of her life. She was the wife of a president. She was the Secretary of State to another president.
Exactly.
Clearly, she had significantly more experience than the billionaire without a day in public office.
Yeah, like what? That's not even a comparison.
But he was a
And plus, you're
billionaire,
not
man. He's-
considering that she's also had a huge career in politics. She was vice president, senator, district attorney, attorney general. She's a prosecutor.
You saying that? Are you talking about Kamala or
Kamala, yeah.
Clinton? You saying that Clinton has qualifications because she was the first lady? She was first lady to
First
Bill
lady
Clinton.
and secretary of state.
To who?
Obama.
Obama, yeah. Do you not remember?
I don't remember, bro. I was not involved in politics. I haven't been involved in politics until.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. You were young. I get it. But do you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand, yeah.
And she was a senator, right? We should also add that.
Hillary Clinton was a senator?
Yeah.
For what state?
I thought Kamala was.
It was New York.
Dang.
From 2001 to
honestly-
2009. She was for 8 years.
Dude, honestly, like, it's kind of sad how, like, her political career's, like, so often overlooked because of her
Yeah.
husband.
That's true.
You know? Like, most people just know her as, like, the first wife of Bill. Like, not as a senator or secretary of state or any of those other things.
There's like, okay. I'm like, I said this yesterday, Parker, and you took this the wrong way. I'm not like misogynistic. This is just purely a fact of how
Oh, no.
like the America is, right?
Oh no,
the,
right.
The amount of white men in America, there's no way that a woman, especially a woman of color, see, I fixed myself. A woman of color, such as Kamala, would be able to get voted.
Oh, yeah, I actually disagree with you. Because guess what? A lot of those people who wouldn't vote for a woman because they're a woman or a black person because they're black, they're already going to vote red no matter what. Like, I agree with you that, like, a woman of color, person of color, wouldn't be able to get enough votes from the Republican Party to win the presidency on a Republican ticket. That's why the GOP has never run a woman or a person of color in the general election. But I think that all those people, for the most part, kind of already just vote for the right. So I absolutely do think a woman or a person of color running on the left could definitely get enough support to win. And I think that the popular vote from 2016 proved that when Hillary Clinton had won the popular vote over Trump when she was a woman. And I think that Obama's presidency proved that, being a black man and serving as a two-term president.
But then, okay, if that's the case, and Kamala was really more qualified than Trump, then how the hell did Trump win?
With the use of propaganda.
Yep.
You could say the same. The Democrats use propaganda. That doesn't mean anything. Everybody uses propaganda. It's part of politics.
The propaganda is why he won, though. That's what we're arguing.
So he's the man of the people, is what you're saying.
No.
No, I'm saying that he's a con man of the people. There you go.
He cons the people. He dropped a
doesn't con the
meme
people.
coin and then rug pulled it.
I could. It's really easy to demonstrate how he conned the people. He was able to convince 70% of Republicans that he won the 2020 election. He was able to convince 100% of Republicans that Biden had skyrocketed the price of gas and caused inflation when that was caused by anybody and everybody but him. On top of about a billion other factors, right? Like, I mean, we hear new propaganda from Trump every day. I mean, there's like propaganda and lies. That's the thing. I mean, that's like Trump 101, dude. If you don't know
He's
that
the
Trump is a
grifter in
liar,
chief.
then you don't know your right from your left.
I'm not gonna talk about the election, but I think this gas prices was literally due to Biden. Like, Ukraine was invaded because, like, under Biden's presidency. That was like, that's why the prices was skyrocketed, right?
Do you think that was because of Biden?
Well, it happened the moment he entered office. So
No, it didn't happen the moment he entered office. But what did he do to cause that?
Here, Parker, I'm going to leave this one to you. I'm going to go ahead and start my live. I appreciate you for having
For
me
sure,
up as a guest, man.
Of
Oh,
course,
also, I
bro.
have some crazy shit to tell you about later. If
All right,
you're down to
bet.
catch up once I'm off live.
For sure, for sure.
All right, see you, man.
All right, I'll see you, bro. You were saying?
Ukraine was invaded like almost immediately after Biden took office. That was
Yeah, but what did Biden do to cause that?
be president.
He was president, therefore he caused it. Okay, so Trump caused the 14.8% unemployment that happened under his first administration, and also Trump caused COVID.
COVID happened under Biden too. That's not
COVID happened. It started under Trump's administration, so therefore you think it was caused by him, right?
You know that's just BS.
Wait. You just said that you believe things to be caused by him just because it happened under his administration, right?
Okay, unless I have evidence otherwise.
Okay, and you have evidence otherwise.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so then you understand that we could say that same thing true for the situation with Ukraine.
How?
There's literally one. There's no evidence that Biden caused it with Ukraine, and two, it's also continued when Trump is in office, right? Trump didn't end it. Like he said, he was going to end it in 24 hours.
No, he tried to though. He was trying to end it, and then
He tried to, but he failed, right?
Okay, but you earlier you guys were talking about how the Democrats are better because they were trying to make immigration better, but in that case, trying was totally fine. But now trying doesn't mean anything.
But you understand? Wait, we're trying with what? Sorry.
You said earlier the Democrats were trying to make immigration easier, and that was a reason to support them. But now, because Trump was trying to get Ukraine and Russia to end war, that's not enough because he was just trying. He didn't actually get it done.
You understand that he said he was going to end it in 24 hours, and that he put us in a worse position for addressing it than Biden did. And
He
then
put
also,
us in war
terms of,
with Ukraine?
I'm saying that he decided to drop the funding and then bring it back. So it inevitably put us in a worse position.
I'm so sorry. You might think I'm stupid for this. What's that?
What does what mean?
A war of what?
A
Position?
A worse position?
Oh, a worse position. I thought you were saying a war of position.
No, worse position.
But he was still trying to end the war with Ukraine and Russia.
Okay, but you understand that if we have better outcomes from one side, then I would pick them.
What are the better outcomes under that Biden hand? Because Biden didn't do anything about the war between Russia and Ukraine either.
Yeah, I would argue that them getting the entirety of NATO and like the European Union to help fund Ukraine was important to Ukraine being able to build themselves up to respond and stay afloat for years, rather than it being months as expected. Whereas specifically if Trump were in office, I don't think he commands the respect of NATO and European allies to a greater extent because he's actively talked about annexing Greenland.
How did Biden build up Ukraine? Because I literally saw clips of like farmers fighting tanks, bro. That's like...
Well, a huge portion of their military now is like their drone warfare and how they respond in that context. So how do they built up funding for Ukraine to help defend themselves?
And that was Biden?
Yes.
Okay, but Trump, instead of... I think, if anything, funding Ukraine just gives reason to prolong the war because you're trying to make the forces equal. That's just going to make the war
that's
like...
purposeful to then prevent Russia from being able to go into Ukraine.
Okay,
and also
what about
a weaker
Trump going in
Russia
directly?
then is good for the world stage.
Imagine... Okay, then what about Trump going in directly and trying to make negotiations with Putin?
Well, I don't think that's been effective.
Yeah, because of Putin, not because of Trump. Trump was trying to end the war directly instead of just make it last long.
Yeah, but that didn't work. So now he's okay with making it last longer? Because he's admitted he's wrong on Ukraine.
I've never seen that. What do you mean? Where's the evidence?
The evidence of what? Which part?
Trump admitting he's wrong.
Oh, Look up Trump admits he's wrong on Ukraine, increases funding.
So-
Alrighty, in the meantime, let me thank some people real quick. Harold, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Of course. Thank you so much. Seriously, W's for them in the comment section right now. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, we did like over 6 hours yesterday. Justina, thank you for the $35. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Good to see you as always, Justina. Thank you so much for the $35. Libby, thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. You know, we do that every day at this point. Kaylin, thank you so much for the $3. Thank you. And Janet, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I know, right? Scotty was crashing out in the comment section earlier. I bet he left. He probably got super angry and then left. So we're all good now. Only send a guest request if you're a Trump supporter. Again, actually, no, this will probably be the last guest, everyone. We have like 8 minutes left on the stream or so. If you want to support me as always, again, Venmo, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Liz, thank you for the $4.44. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Seriously, though. As well as Bill, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $1. Thank you. Bethany, thank you for the $10 as well.
Okay, I saw the thing, but I saw that he admitted that it was tougher than he thought or whatever. But I didn't see none about him increasing funds.
No, he because they decreased and then he brought him back. Look up brings back funding for Ukraine.
No,
Okay.
because you're pretty consistent with your sources, but like even then, Trump, like if Trump just increased funds, he's doing the same thing as Biden. Why is that bad?
So the point that I would say is that he cut the funding and then brought it back because he realized he was wrong. So he put us in a worse position. That's what I said.
He tried multiple. He's trying to stop the war from multiple angles. You know, Biden just said, okay, you know, here's money, have more weapons, fight Russia. But then Trump, like he tried having negotiations. He went diplomatic first, and then he increased the funding. Now, honestly, isn't that not a better that's not a better perspective to take?
No, because we already knew it wouldn't work in terms of negotiation with Russia. We'd already tried that. So it was just something that he had to go through to figure out where we'd already been in the first place.
I think, okay, so something that you guys always talk about is Trump was unable to. This is connected. I'm not pivoting. Just hear me out. Something you guys always talk about is Trump was unable to negotiate with Iran because he was in a worse position to negotiate, because of specifically the fact it was Trump instead of like Obama, right? I think that Trump was in a better position to negotiate with Russia because of like, you know, he had a better relationship with Russia than
How'd that go?
the Democratic candidates. Huh?
How'd that go?
Well, it didn't work, but
Yeah,
I
you
think
guys
he
made.
wasn't
Yeah,
wrong.
how are you still making that argument now after everything has failed? Like that seems crazy to me.
Well, I just don't. I think you're wrong for saying that he was wrong for trying to negotiate initially and then going and increasing.
You
funding.
understand Biden already did that, right?
Negotiations?
Yeah, you can negotiate, but he shouldn't have got rid of the funding, right? And he shouldn't have pulled back to then give Russia that benefit. He shouldn't have laid out the red carpet for Putin.
Well, if he's trying to,
Honestly, there's a better argument for he should have taken out Putin.
that Russia's a superpower. You can't just take out the president of Russia. That's gonna cause war with Russia directly between U.S. and Russia.
Well, I guess there could be an argument for that not happening, but yeah, like I'm just saying that there's a better argument for that than Trump. I'm not saying I agree with that, because you're right. I do think that there's a very likely chance that it would cause a direct war. But he did do that with Iran. He did start a direct war with Iran, and you're totally okay with that, right?
Because we're significantly stronger than Iran. Iran's not a superpower.
Okay, so you say that we're significantly stronger than Iran, then how come we haven't been able to get them to surrender?
Because despite our military strength, I guess public opinion on Israel is making us look like bad guys too.
Okay, so maybe we should stop having relationships with Israel and just do everything for Israel, and maybe we shouldn't just gone to war with Iran for Israel?
I don't think we went to war with Iran for Israel. I think we went to. I mean, I agree with you. We should cut off from Israel, but I don't think we went to war with Iran for Israel. I think we went to war with Iran because I think
you wanted to distract away from the Epstein files.
It's not even. Trump's not a pedophile.
He was credibly accused by a minor in the Epstein files that got a settlement with the Epstein estate, and also he's been protecting P3 radios in the Epstein files. He even said to Marjorie Taylor Greene that a lot of his quote-unquote good friends are going to be hurt by this.
Like whichever dude was literally clipped on the islands, right? That you about to say.
Yeah, and also, why isn't Trump why isn't Trump fired Howard Lutnick, a person who's been caught on picture with Jeffrey Epstein on the island?
I don't know. This whole thing with Epstein. Some dude DM'd me yesterday when I get hopped off your stream about just millions and hundreds of clips of Trump his own daughter.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how to feel about all that. That's
so do you still support him?
That's why I said I'm on the fence when I joined your live. I don't know how
It
to
sounds
feel
like
about
you
all
shouldn't
that.
support him. Like, if you hear him say his daughter, if you hear that he's been protecting P3DOs in the Epstein files, if you hear that he's been held civilly liable of abusing a woman, if you hear that he's been accused by 27 women plus of misconduct, maybe you should stop supporting him.
And I'm thinking about it now. You said I hear so many people talking about how the whole what's her name, Eugene Carroll or something, right?
Eugene Carroll, yeah.
Yeah, I hear so many people talking about how that whole case was just BS and she's just insane and lying. And
There's no
kind of the
basis
more
for them saying that.
I that's what I'm kind of realizing now. And then the more I like look at it, I think Trump is kind of that's not like out of character for him at all. Kind of, I don't know how I feel. I don't know. I just think I don't
Okay,
know.
so like, what would you say?
I don't know, bro. I don't know how to feel about this whole thing. I think he is kind of weird for that. I can't even lie to you.
Okay, so what would cause you to be like, I don't want to support him anymore? At like what point would you say, nope, no more?
Well, like I was gonna, I guess my argument before was this policy is better, but then you and Dean just proved me wrong, so I don't even know at this point.
Okay, alrighty. Well, maybe you have a little bit more to think about.
I'm thinking about it now. I guess I'm like low key. I'm putting two and two together. I'm like,
Maybe you shouldn't support him.
it's crazy to say that, but low key.
All right, well, snap out of it. You're good. You're right there, bro. Appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, have a good day.